It is my pleasure to welcome to the show the best-selling author of the sensational true crime book, A Tangled Web, Leslie Rule.
Liz Gollier was a single mother. She had 2 children, and she had a house cleaning business. She loved to play video games on her phone, and she was looking for someone to date, and she didn't want anything serious.
Dave, take us back to 2012. What was going on in your life right before you tried online dating?
He and Amy, my kid's mother, broke up. So eventually I moved out. I didn't know anybody in the Omaha area, so I hopped online. We went on a date, family diner type thing, and we kind of hit it off. It was a lot of fun, but by that time I was serial dating. If I had a free night, I was out with somebody, whether it was Liz or somebody else. So I was having fun, and I certainly was not trying to be locked down, tied down, whatever.
And how did you meet Carrie?
I was managing an automotive repair shop, and she just wandered in as a customer one day. When she came in and I saw her, I was like, hey, this is a good-looking woman. And she smiled, but I was working, so I just said, what can I do for you? But a little while later, I actually ran across her on the dating site that I was on. We went to Applebee's, and we're hitting it off pretty good. And I invited her back to my place. So we hit it off, and we were hot and heavy. She was at my house when I left for work, probably 6:30.
Here she is.
I gave her a kiss, said I'll see you later, and didn't really think anything of it. Went to work. I'm thinking, okay, I dodged a bullet. So I'm running around looking for somebody, a car, a person, whatever. And I see her Explorer in the parking lot by my apartment, buried in snow. Now every other car's been cleaned off, but this vehicle stands out, and I take a closer look. Once I see the license plate, I called the sheriff at the time and said, I think I found her truck.
And it's processed for a stolen vehicle. Not much in it. A mint tin. Fingerprint was pulled from the mints. It was checked through the national database, and it didn't get any hits.
What was happening with you and Liz during this time?
We were on and off dating. It ultimately drove Liz and I together more. We'd find ourselves sitting on a couch on a Saturday just talking about it for hours, and we both getting emails from Carrie at the same time.
Captain McClanahan, the fire rescue with the fire department. How long have you been living here?
3 years. We're in the process of moving.
From what I've seen so far, looking inside, this is pretty obvious this is an intentionally set fire. I understand there's been some problems going on. Why don't you tell me about that?
The guy that I'm seeing, he has a girlfriend he dated for 2 weeks, and she's been stalking me since November. So that's why we're moving. But she has made threats towards me and my kids.
Okay.
Just in emails or text messaging.
All right.
It makes me feel like she was trying to pretty much kill me and my kids.
She'd never returned to her home. She never cashed checks. She didn't access her bank account.
Okay, come on, let's go.
She was a devoted mother. Her son was everything to her. And she just would not have abandoned her child. And her family knew that.
It really didn't take long before we started working under the pretense that Carrie was passed. One of the first things we started looking into was Liz's phone, and we found this photo. This is a photo of Carrie's vehicle. We looked at the metadata of this photo, and we found out that it was taken Christmas Eve of 2012 by the same make and model of phone that Liz had. So somehow Liz knew where Carrie's vehicle was before law enforcement had a clue. And then we looked back at Carrie's vehicle. When we interviewed Nancy, Carrie's mother, Nancy mentioned that Carrie was a little messy. There's usually food wrappers, things like that in the vehicle. And when she got it back, it was obvious it had been cleaned. All this stuff is leading to Liz being a person of interest. So at this point, we have one piece of evidence that we've recovered, and that's that fingerprint. So we had that fingerprint compared to Liz's known fingerprints, and we got a match.
We've got a ton of information coming back from our search warrants for emails and that sort of thing. We have over 100,000 emails and instant messages to go through. Over 500,000 IP addresses to figure out what an IP address is. It's like a postal address. It's how your computer identifies itself on the internet. All roads lead to Liz. Everything we can trace back to Liz.
This is a bizarre and twisted case of a fatal attraction. It's about an obsessive woman that would stop at nothing to get what she wanted.
If you've ever seen the movie Fatal Attraction, you have probably not looked at a cute little bunny rabbit the same way. And if you just so happen to be thinking of having an affair, please rent that movie. Trust me, rent it. Or I'm gonna save you some time. It's being called the Fatal Attraction Trial, and there is very good reason for that. No body, that is troublesome. However, there was blood in Carrie's SUV. And also inside that SUV was a package of mints. And on that package of mints was Shanna Golyer's fingerprint. Does it matter if you don't have a body and you have all this other great stuff?
It matters. It makes it tougher. You don't need a body to prove murder, but it helps.
That's what the defense is going to hang their hat on. But in this particular case, there is a lot of circumstantial evidence.
The court finds beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant intentionally killed Carrie Farber with deliberate and premeditated malice.
It was a day of closure for the family of Carrie Farber because the judge found Shanna Golyer guilty this morning of first-degree murder as well as second-degree arson in the murder of Carrie Farber.